Hey gang, this is John Newton from Snap-on John 100, and I am out. I don't have my cool hat on, so my credibility drops way down, but I had to have a lid on of some sort. Today, what I'm going to be doing, because it's nice, it's going to be nice after work for the rest of this week, I'm going to try to come out for a little while every evening and go for a walk. And because of the knife reviews I've been doing tasks of making bow drill fires, or at least the setups for them, and pretty much every time it got dark before you saw half of it, what I thought I would do is make several videos, and probably 3 or so, and build a reliable a bow drill setup, and go through it from walking through the woods and selecting trees and everything, and then doing step by step on how I construct them. And that way you've got a good a base for comparing with other people, at least. But this is, I'll show you what is successful or what works for me. And so I will be going through even and identifying different trees that I like to use. And with that said, I'm right in front of a box elder tree. Its full name is box elder maple. So it will have maple keys or seeds on it that look just like a maple tree, but the leaves don't look a thing like a maple. And it's a very soft wood. It's the softest of all the maples. And I'll show you that one right here. This is one right here. And it doesn't have any seeds on it. Let's see if I can find one with seeds on it. I don't want to take up a whole lot of time, because time is what we don't have a lot of now. Alright, I'm not seeing any seeds on this one, but just take my word for it. This is, the leaves almost look like some sort of ash. It's a compound leaf. So it has leaflets, just like an ash or a hickory, one of those trees. But the funny thing is, and I've gotten caught so far a couple of times, when it's real tiny, you see 3 leaves. It looks just like a poison ivy plant that's sprouting out of the ground. And but this one, as it gets bigger, then you see that it's got 5 leaflets on a compound leaf. And the bark looks pretty much just, gray, furrowed. But right here's a dead piece. And what I'm going to do maybe later on this week is I'll cut a piece off of this one. Okay, and then we'll use that one for a bow drill set, because this one's broken off and it's been dead for a while. Okay, so let me get geared up, and I will get back to you when I have found the next species of tree that I like. Oh, one thing I wanted to tell you too is, since I did the videos on the blackbird made by Ontario Knives and designed by Paul Scheider, I spoke with both Paul and Dan, and I hope I don't butcher his name, Maragni, I think it is. He's the blade guru, incredibly knowledgeable and real busy. And one thing, he spent about an hour talking to me on the phone, which I was completely blessed by that, telling me all about different blade angles and designs and stuff. And he's the guru for Ontario Knives. Wealth of knowledge. And both of them told me that they use the Work Sharp knife sharpening system that puts a convex bevel on knives to sharpen the blackbird. I happen to own one, so I tried it, and it works like a charm. So that now has become one of my favorite knives, because it's thin, light, And because it's stainless, I can have it on the outside of my pack and not have to worry about it. And I now have a way of sharpening it, because once I've put that edge on it, then I can strop it and keep it razor sharp. So I just wanted to mention that, because before I'd said I didn't have any way of sharpening a full flat grind knife, and I was kind of disappointed a little bit that that was designed with one. But I talked to Paul and found out why he really wanted that one, and for fine detail work it's hard to beat that one because of the edge geometry. Another thing I wanted to say is, when you're looking for trees to use, a lot of times it's a good idea just to look down and you'll see a leaf that you recognize. Like if you're looking for basswood, you'll see a giant, huge, heart-shaped leaf. Then you look up, and that's how I find a lot of my trees. Like right here on the ground, right there is part of a basswood leaf. So all I do is I just look up, and most of these trees are hickories of one kind or another. There's several species in here, and the basswood might have blown over. So like this one right here, I'm not sure what that one is. The trunk looks almost like it's a walnut, but I don't see any nuts on it. Alright, I'll get back to you. Here's one of the trees I'm looking for, and you won't believe how fast it's getting dark. This one is a basswood, and in fact I think this one might be it's a linden, and a basswood is American linden. This one probably is American linden, because the leaves, some of the leaves are really big. There's different sizes. There's small leaf linden, large leaf linden, European, which is a hybrid of both of those, and then there's the basswood, which is American linden. That's got the biggest leaf. But here's the leaves. They're let me get one. They're heart-shaped. There's my hand. This one's not overly big, and also usually you can see they're uneven in the back, and they're toothed. The big basswood looks just like a catalpa leaf, if you've seen that, but the catalpa is smooth on the edge. The linden is, or basswood is, has got teeth on it, if you can see those teeth. Okay, and this is the tree, and also a lot of times you can, this one's got one, but a lot of times you can tell because they'll have a ring of suckers growing around the bottom of it. This is one sucker right here, and so this is the gray smooth. This is of a young one, and as it matures it gets more like that. Basswood is my total favorite of all time, and it's the softest. It's almost like balsa wood, and it works like a charm for bow drill sets. I like to use, I also like to use the same material for both spindle and hearthboard, even though you'll read in some places that you're supposed to use different things. I don't believe that, because I have tried it and it's never really worked very well for me, unless I was using yucca. A yucca stalk and something else works great, but that's because the yucca is so good. I have not tried yucca on a basswood hearthboard. I'm going to try that. That might just burst into flame when you look at it. I'm not sure. But this is the one. This is my favorite one. And here's a dead one that's, but you can tell the underbark looks almost like it's got netting on it. It's got like holes in it and stuff, like sort of like a netting. It's also, the way you can tell, is it's real light and fibrous. So basswood, #1 favorite. And the next tree I know where that is, I can walk right to it, is going to be tulip poplar. That's Dave Canterbury's favorite. I used it for bird's nest material. That's basically the main thing we had when I was at one of the survival schools. It was pouring all 4 days, and that's what we relied on the whole time to make bird's nests, was the inner bark of tulip poplar. But as far as making a bow drill set out of it, basswood, I like basswood better. I like cottonwood better than that also, and I like cedar better. I'm not sure, I've never really compared willow to tulip poplar, but that's kind of the rundown for me. But Dave, that's his total favorite. But I asked him, and he said they don't have any basswood down in his neck of the woods in southeast Ohio. So I didn't see any, but according to my books, it's supposed to be there somewhere. But I'll show you what a tulip poplar looks like, because it's invaluable. One feature is it's just about the tallest tree in the woods. It's got a really tall, straight trunk, and there's no branches until you get up about 30 feet, because the lower branches shed off. And those are the branches that we look for. Okay, stay with me. Alright, I got another, there's a basswood leaf close up. Palmately veined. And you can see it's uneven at the base. Okay, and toothed. The edges are toothed. Alright, now here's a grove of tulip poplar, or yellow poplar, and I'm standing right by one that's got a lower little cluster of growth on it, so I can show you the leaves up close. It's got a gray, fairly finely, the bark is sort of finely ridged. It doesn't have deep grooves, but the leaf is very distinctive. It's a pretty leaf, and that's the leaf. It's 4 lobes, very symmetric, beautiful. It's also palmately veined. Okay, that's the leaf, and it's called tulip poplar because it has a beautiful flower on it that looks kind of like a greenish, it's greenish tan with some yellow, and I think maybe even a little pink tone on it. It's way past the season, so I can't show you that, but another nickname is tulip tree. And all of these trees, and you'll see how straight trunked. Now look at this one. Straight, way up. And right up there, probably 50 feet up or so, is the first branch. But you can see where the branches were. See all those upside down V's? That's where branches were as it grew and they fell off. There's another one real close to me. You can see it easier probably. See that right there? Those are where branches were. And the wood from tulip poplar, just like basswood, is pretty snow white. See that piece right there? It looks like bone. This is, I think this is a piece of tulip poplar. I have to make sure it's not a piece of basswood that I carried over here. Nope, this is tulip poplar, and as you can see, it almost looks like white bone. And you can mark this with your thumbnail. It burns great. And the fibrous bark, just like basswood, Indians used to weave this into ropes and stuff. And I think they made nets and everything out of it. But what we can use it for is a bird's nest. You just peel it off like I've shown you before, and work it down by separating the fibers until you get a fluffy bird's nest. And so those are the trees. I've never tried pine, and I've heard people say pine is good. You'd have to get a super dry, definitely dry piece for it to work out because it's resinous. So I've never really had luck with resinous woods, but I've heard of people having good luck with pieces of pine. This is a white pine, and here's a really dead piece. But this one's so dead that it's starting to be pithy, so that wouldn't work either. All right, and now as you can see, actually you can't see because my camera's pretty good at picking out the light and the ambient light and giving you a good image. But the sun is already set, so I don't really have time to do any more. What I thought I might try to do is when I get up close to where the car is, that's where that piece of cottonwood or box elder, and I thought I'd cut that piece off and save that for when I'm doing some processing, and then the next time I'm out, we'll talk about some other trees, and then I'll try to start processing the pieces that I have. The other thing too is I'm going to go through making the bird's nest and all of that, so that you just have a really good base series of videos that you can draw from to show you how to create a fire with a bow and drill right from total scratch, just like you came out with me and I was showing you which tree to pick. So with that said, I'm going to just head out of here, and I will get back to you later. Hey, I don't want to get too close, but check this out. It was very active this summer, so I'm sure they're still there. Pretty cool. It's only probably 3.5 feet off the ground. And right now I'm probably 15 yards away from it, something like that. Well, I'm out of the woods, and it's pretty light out here, but I got two things. I did pick up a piece of basswood, a stick that was broken off and hanging. Now you can make a spindle out of this without doing much processing. It's that piece right here in the center of the screen, the thinner one, that's just virtually strip the bark off both ends and point both ends. One blunted point and the other one's a strong tapered point, and you got it. This bigger one, you could make a spindle by just carving it down just a little bit. So that's something that you don't have to work with too much. And here you can see the inner bark coming off. You strip this outer stuff off. Oh, and see the kind of quirky, it's quirky and kind of netting looking. That's how you can tell. Okay, now the other thing is, right by me is a box elder maple, and it's got the maple, they're called keys, but they're like helicopters. Okay, see them? So that shows you this is a maple, but look at the leaves. Everybody knows what a maple leaf looks like. One's getting my hand here. Everybody knows what a maple leaf looks like, but look at these things. Like that looks sort of like poison ivy to me. Here's more. These are just in clusters of 3. These are leaflets and the actual leaf is where it comes out, where there's a bud. Here's a better example of, right there is, you see the multiple leaflets, and then actually this right here, I'm not sure what that, it's like a compound, but that's box elder. All right, here's that dead piece, and I'm trying to find a piece that looks real straight grained. That's curved. Well, I'll try this piece.